My Govanen folks. Today we have quite a fascinating looking integral here. We have the integral from 0 to pi over 2 of, wow, that is one interesting integrand. I mean, we have a fifth root, and we have trigonometric functions, and we have a log there, because why not? I mean, who else is going to carry the boats and the logs other than us math nerds? Anyway, so we have the integral of fifth root of tangent theta times the logarithm of some function of tan theta divided by another function of tan theta. Why do I keep saying that these are functions of tangent theta? Well, let me show you, but first I'd like to make a slight modification to the integrand. I'm gonna replace this by sine squared because that only changes the result by multiplying it by 2, which is nice, depending on the shape and structure of the final result, but it's nice anyway. And I get rid of some square root thingies, which is nice because then I would miss factors of 1/2, so why not? Anyway, so sine is a function of tangent, and let me show you. So we have sine theta. We know that this thing would be sine theta over cosine theta times, well, cosine theta. And cosine theta is 1 over secant, whereas sine over cosine is tangent. So we have tangent theta over secant theta, which implies that, terribly sorry about that, sine square theta is in fact tangent square theta over secant square theta, and secant square can be expanded in terms of tangent, so we have tangent square theta over 1 plus tangent square theta. Okay, cool. So we have I here equal to integral 0 to pi over 2 of fifth root tangent theta. Terribly sorry about that. Again, terribly sorry about that. Slightly better. Times the logarithm of tangent square theta over 1 plus tangent square theta over sine 2 theta, which can be expanded as 2 sine theta cosine theta, or sine theta over cosine theta times cosine square theta, of course, and no one's going to complain about that. Why? Because it makes things very convenient for us. We have integral 0 to pi over 2, fifth root, that looked quite awful, tangent theta times the logarithm of tangent square theta minus, I'm going to need a bit more writing space over here. Using the properties of the logarithm, we have log of numerator minus log of denominator. So we have 1 plus tangent square theta. And we're dividing the whole thing by 2 times tangent theta. And 1 over cosine square is in fact secant square theta d theta. And now we have a very natural substitution here. And that is letting tangent theta equal x, which of course implies that secant square theta d theta equals dx. And as far as the limits are concerned, as theta approaches 0, we have x approaching tangent 0, which is 0, and as theta approaches pi over 2, the tangent will approach positive infinity. So that means we have I now equal to an integral from 0 to infinity of x to the 1/5 over 2x, so that's 1/2 outside, x over there, and we have log of, wait, terribly sorry about that, log x minus log 1 plus x squared. You know what, I did not really need to use the properties of the logarithm there, so we have log x squared over 1 plus x squared dx. So with our new and transformed integral, we're about to make another interesting substitution, and that is we're going to let 1 plus x squared over x squared equal u, as in the reciprocal of the argument of the logarithm. It works the other way itself, but this one's nicer. So we have 1 over x squared plus 1 equals u, which implies that 1 over x squared equals u minus 1, or that x here just equals 1 over u minus 1 to the 1/2. Okay, cool. So now for the limits, as x approaches 0, u approaches positive infinity because x is approaching 0 from the right. And as x approaches infinity, you can evaluate quite easily using L'Hopital's rule that you would have u approaching 1. And now for the differential element, we differentiate this to get dx equal to, So we got 1/2, -1/2, that is, du over u minus 1 to the 3/2, which is cool. And all of this implies that I here equals 1/2 times the integral from infinity to 1 now. And we have another 1/2, but with a negative sign, so I'll write that outside. And we have x to the minus 4/5. So x is this thing over here in the u world. So we have 1 over u minus 1 to the 1/2 times -4/5, which is, well, -2/5. Yep, that's pretty much it. Or I'll just write this whole thing as u minus 1 to the 2/5, which looks cool. And then we have log of 1 over u. And of course, the differential element is, well, what's left of it is du over u minus 1 to the 3/2. So we have a couple of u minus 1 terms, and now for the negatives. Now, here's what's happening. Flipping up the limits of integration will introduce a extra negative sign that cancels out with the 1 outside, but we have log of 1 over u. And if we write this thing as log u only, we have another negative sign. So there you have it, another minus sign with the integral. And what else do we have? Well, we have u minus 1 to the 2/5 minus 3/2 du. Okay, I got this. 2 over 5 minus 3 over 2. This has got to be 4 minus 15 over 10. That is minus 11 over 10. Oh my god, I can't. I'm just happy to make it out alive at this point. I mean, anyway, we have -1/4, terribly sorry about that, integral 1 to infinity log u times u minus 1 to the minus 11/10 du. Now that's a strange looking integral, isn't it? But it can be solved quite trivially using integration by parts. So we have -1/4 integral 1 to infinity log u, and this thing over here can be expressed as, well, this is hard to draw. I think I got it right the second time, but yeah, much better. So this thing can be expressed as the differential of, let's see, we got u minus 1. We need a -11/10, so that's minus 1/10 over here. And, okay, I'm gonna get that downstairs, which means I just need a -10 over here, and that should do the trick. Okay, cool. So we got log u d minus 10 u minus 1 to the -1/10. And of course, we have some cancellation of the -1s, which is quite welcome, leaving behind on integration by parts a 1/4 multiplied by log u times, well, we do have a 10, so might as well write this as 10 over 4, which is 5/2. And then we have u minus 1 to the 1/10. So I'll write this thing downstairs over here, with the limits being 1 and infinity, minus integral 1 to infinity. Now we have log u, which differentiates to 1 over u, or u to the minus 1, or I'll just write it as 1 over u. And we have u minus 1 to the minus 1 over 10 du. Terribly sorry about that. Why not just scroll up and have more screen real estate? Yeah, much better. Bloody hell, I'm even worse at it. Oh dear me. There, that should suffice. Yeah, I'm okay with it. Nah, you know what? I'm just okay with it. Why am I panicking? Anyway, it's all good. What matters is we need to evaluate this thing. So it's pretty easy to verify that this thing converges to 0 in both limits. You can verify that as a bit of a side quest. And we have -5/2 times integral 1 to infinity of u minus 1 to the -1/10 times 1 over u du. And now for one more transformation. So what we'll do here is that we will let 1 over u equal t. which implies that u here is just 1 over t, obviously, and this implies that du equals negative 1 over t squared dt. What about the limits of integration? Well, as u approaches 1, so does t. So there you go. But as u approaches infinity, we get t approaching 0. And we have 1 over t minus 1, which translates to 1 minus t. The whole thing is being raised to negative 1 over 10, so that's exactly what we have. And I'll just write this thing over here as t to the 1 over 10. And, okay, what else do we got? 1 over u is just t, and we still have t squared down there. Negative signs canceling out, but we still get a surviving negative sign because of switching up the limits of integration. Okay, that was fun. And, okay, now what? So, performing the algebra over here, we have 1 over 10 minus 1, which is going to be minus 9/10, correct? And we have a familiar face here on the channel. That is, what we have here is one of the integral forms of the beta function. And that is the beta function with complex arguments u and v, defined as the integral from 0 to 1 of t to the minus, no wait, it's t to the u minus 1 times 1 minus t to the v minus 1 dt. Okay, cool. So u minus 1 equals negative 1 over 10, which implies that u here is just 9/10, and v minus 1 equals minus 9 over 10, which implies that v here is just 1 over 10. So that means I here equals minus 5 over 2 beta function at 9 over 10 and 1 over 10. Which is pretty cool, because now we can invoke the relationship between the beta and the gamma functions. So we have negative 5 halves, gamma 9 over 10, gamma 1 over 10, over gamma 9 over 10 plus 1 over 10, which yields minus 5 over 2 gamma 1 minus 1 over 10 times gamma 1 over 10 over gamma 1, which is, well, just 1. And now we have gamma 1 minus z times gamma z, which means we can invoke Euler's beautiful reflection formula. That gives us pi over sine of pi times the argument, which in this case is 1 over 10. Okay, cool. Now what on earth is sine of pi over 10? Well, sine pi over 10 equals 1 over twice the golden ratio. So yeah, I think you guys saw it coming when you saw the 5th root. So, you know, number 5 and then the whole thing about golden ratios and all that kind of stuff. So that means we have minus 5 over 2 times pi times 2 phi. There is some cancellation, which implies that our wonderful integral, that is the integral from 0 to pi over 2 of 5th root of tangent theta times log of sine square theta over sine 2 theta d theta equals negative 5 pi phi. Quite a beautiful result. And you can get another result from this very integral, again thanks to log properties, because we know that the reciprocal of sine square would be secant square. So you can write this result here. That is integral 0 to pi over 2 5th root tangent theta log cosecant square theta over sine 2 theta d theta equals positive 5 pi phi. I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you. See you next time.